Hey there. Alright, so this is episode 9, and we're basically gonna be kind of continuing the Narshada job. Things aren't done yet. Jack's kind of in trouble because the cargo has been stolen by a bunch of security guards that are on the take, working for Jabba the Hutt kind of on the side. I spent a little bit of XP. I spent the 5 plus the 5 to get myself to astrogation 1, so that next time I take flight and try to make the jump to hyperspace, maybe things go well. Maybe I get a success. Gotta find ways for Jack to boost that. Now it's kind of funny because under the smuggler scoundrel specialization, or under the smuggler career and the scoundrel specialization, astrogation is not a career skill. So, and I neglected to take that as kind of an option. I believe I had a few options. That's the ones that are marked as a B there. I think those were options I had to that I took for other career skills. I kind of focused around the deception, skullduggery, blaster fire kind of thing, and I didn't put a lot of points into skills. That's going to start changing here, because I believe, if I recall correctly, if I go back to my XP log, my brawn and agility I made sure were up. I threw a bunch of points into my talent tree. Sorry. My cunning I put into 3. Did I do that? Oh yeah, sorry. That's my cunning is my I threw kind of into attributes a lot, and then skullduggery and deception were really the only ones that I kind of put points into in terms of my skills. Right up front, that and ranged, I think that was later. Actually, I think I may have thrown into my ranged light. Yeah, that was after a little after episode 4 when I started throwing some points in. So I put 10 points into astrogation 1. So basically, it's whatever level you're kind of going to, 5 times that level. If it's a non-career skill, it's an additional 5. So it cost me 10 just to kind of put into get myself astrogation 1. So I guess I kind of see this as Jax is kind of learning his lesson, and in his off time sitting out in the desert of Tatooine, he's been studying up and try to get a better handle on hyperspace lanes and hyperspace routes, and hoping that all this will pan out. I've also kind of been going back through some old West End Games books that are focused around smuggling, like Platt's Smuggler's Guide and Galaxy Guide 6, the Tramp Freighters one, which is spectacular to have if you play Star Wars and you like the new Edge of the Empire. Tramp Freighters and Platt's Smuggler's Guides are pretty much like the books to go to if you can if you can get copies of them. The West End Game stuff's been out of print a long time, and Galaxy Guide 6 Tramp Freighters is considered one of the best source books that they ever came out with for Star Wars games. So if you can get it though, but it's got some good ideas, which I'm going to try to make use of here, because I feel like I've been hitting a little bit of a brick wall trying to make my way through this game with Jax and his companion. So, between sessions here, I developed a new character. So at the end of last session, Palo Greet of Black Sun had approached Jax with the idea of helping him regain his kyber crystals, kind of with a future, a future favor that Jax will owe them, as well as basically he's kind of potentially opening up some business prospects there. So after some discussion, kind of it was suggested that there could be a hired gun that Black Sun could help work with Jax. Jax is not exactly a gunfighter at this point. We're gonna work our way up to that, I guess, but he's still kind of a little more of the schmoozing, charismatic smuggler rather than the blaster-focused guy. So I used a bunch of random tables with a little thing that I pulled off called Womp Rats, which I thought kind of had some cool ideas, some neat tables as well. So basically we had determined last time it's a human bounty hunter that works for Black Sun, but he's on his own. He's a contractor, of course. He's freelance, but Black Sun is one of his main clients. Okay, so I hate spot typos of my own. I need to fix them. So Aanord Skyrider is what I came up with here. So when I'd kind of been developing him, we came up with a forthright warrior. He's straightforward, and he's definitely he identifies as a fighter type. He's a warrior. His motivation, I determined based on the whole Rob literature thing, is he's a collector of rare texts and tomes, particularly those connected to the Jedi legends and the Jedi religion. Often enough, those need to be liberated, so he's got no issues whatsoever robbing and basically taking them. So we set the scene here. Jax has managed to make it back to the Driftwood. It's later that day now because he had to kind of... So I also kind of attached the bounty hunter's rival... the bounty hunter's rival adversary thing to Aanord. Aanord. So to give him stats, I considered the idea of building him as a starter, PC, but decided just to grab bounty hunter stats off of the adversary's page here. This is kind of helpful. So the way I see it, we're still kind of within the Nar Shaddaa job. This is still Adventure 1, but we're now going into Scene 13. And the way I see it is while waiting on the Driftwood, basically it should be a relatively short scene where he's introduced to the bounty hunter who's going to be working alongside him to take down these security guys who are working for Jabba. However, as usual, we're going to go with the whole rolling on the chaos factor here. So the chaos factor is currently 5. I'm going to roll an 8, so we're not going to be interrupting the scene here. The scene's actually going to play out pretty much as expected. Flip to my fate chart here. I think I really should be updating the threads list. So we're not going to be paying Vex back right now. We're going to be retrieving the goods from Jabba. Should this become an issue later, if they don't get retrieved, then we'll deal with it. However, we're going to be kind of going on to so we're just going to kind of say Payback Black Sun for its help here. That's a threads list, so or a new thread that I think should be put on there. So there we go. So we're going to kind of skip ahead, and later that day, we find Aanord Skyrider on board the Driftwood out in the Tatooine deserts, with Jax having allowed him on board and then kind of closed things up to avoid all the blowing sand to get in, and little K the Ewok kicking around nearby. Aanord is greets Jax fairly bluntly, fairly professionally. He's not a friendly guy necessarily here. He's here for business. He's been hired to do something very particular, and that's, in his case, he's getting paid to kill along with Jax, he's getting paid to kill 3 of these security guys working for Jabba the Hutt, right? So we kind of, we'll just drop right into the discussion kind of unfolding on board the Driftwood as Aanord is trying to explain to Jax his specialties. And if we kind of look at the bounty hunter thing, he's got a good sized blaster pistol, a heavy blaster pistol on his hip, and he's got a blaster rifle slung over one shoulder. He does not wear armor in this case. I think, however, the first question here is, how did he get out here? So he must have some kind of transportation. So I'm thinking maybe a speeder bike of some sort. So he could have also maybe caught a lift, could have caught a transport. Who knows? But I'm going to ask the fate chart to begin with. Does Aanord own a speeder bike? And I'm going to say this is nearly certain. That's going to be 02. Absolutely he does, and it is completely paid off. To the point, actually, it's an older model. He's owned it for some time, so that's kind of what we're going to go with our extreme yes there, because that was an 02. Anything less than 17 on there, I believe, was for nearly certain. Yeah, it was a extreme yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, so his speeder bike is parked outside. Jax kind of saw it approaching. It's not shiny. It's not new. It's actually been well worn, but it's been well taken care of. Aanord needs it to get around, especially on Tatooine. He spends a lot of time here, I'm thinking. He doesn't have his own ship. That I'm sure of. I'm not even going to ask the fate chart. So he could probably even work with Jax maybe as a longer term thing if things go well. And that's probably kind of in the back of both of their minds here, being like, Aanord's looking at this going, this dude's got a ship and he's got some connections. There could be some there could be some money to be made here. And Jax is thinking, man, I'm tired of getting shot. This guy looks like he knows how to handle himself. Maybe he'd make maybe he'd be a good fit for the crew. Kay doesn't really do much except kind of kick around, look cute, and occasionally, get into trouble. So yeah, mid-discussion, Aanord is talking about, their plans for going after these guys, and he's thinking that it needs to be sooner rather than later. He would very much like to make this, an undercover of darkness kind of operation into Mos Eisley. He knows where these guys are. He's ready to kind of go in and take them out. He's got no qualms whatsoever about blasting his way into a domicile and murdering all 3 of these guys. He's a bounty hunter, and sometimes the bounties are dead, not alive, and that's what it is in this case. Jax isn't a killer. He will kill if he has to, but he's really not a killer. He'd really rather not, but he's gonna have to go along with this because he needs those kyber crystals back, or he is fucked. So the 2 of them sit down to discuss. I'm trying to think of how Aanord should sound, and I'm inclined to thinking maybe he's going to have to kind of get a bit of an accent of some sort. So much of Star Wars accents tend towards English, just because so much of it was filmed kind of with in England or with the English crews and such, or English cast members. So I'm thinking maybe he's going to have a little bit of a hard English accent. We're going to give that a shot as we go along here. Cockney-ish. I don't really do a very good. I'm not good with accents. I'm really not. So, Aanord is very tired of waiting around, and he thinks that perhaps it's time that they got going. It's time to go kill something. So Jax, we should get a move on here. I don't even know what my accent is here. I'm just gonna go with it. We should get a move on here. I'm tired of waiting around. I think we need to head back into Mos Eisley, and it's time to put those blasters on your hip to good use.
And he kind of brings his blaster rifle around, and he just kind of takes a look at it, checks to make sure that that it's all charged up, looks good, admires it for a second, kind of takes a look down the sights, and then slings it again. He's like, "Well, I'm all ready to go, aren't you?" All right, Jax is like, "Yeah, all right, let's do this." As he kind of checks for his own blaster, my usual prop here. Checks for his own blaster on his hip. I suppose I do have another prop I can potentially use here for Aanord. So he's got a heavy blaster pistol, and yeah, I know it's a Nerf Fortnite gun, and it's a big, big revolver. You know, meant to well, revolver kind of from the game, right? So this can maybe kind of suffice if I need it. I can use that with Aanord in mind. So once again, Jax kind of looks at Kay and he's like, "All right, Kay, look, lock the doors this time. Don't let anyone out. Just stay, or don't let anyone out. Don't let anyone in. Just stay put. Behave. Come on, just do this for me. We need a win here." Eat Chihuahua. Sure, no problem, kind of thing. He just assumes Kay gets it, but who knows. Aanord, I'm thinking, isn't the most comfortable with the idea of Jax riding on his back. So I think maybe Aanord's kind of, well, I think maybe you should bring the beast here, but park it back in a docking bay so that I'm switching my accents, I think, but that's okay. I think maybe you should take this back to the docking bays and we'll park there. After the score, you should have a lot of extra cash kicking around to pay for the fees, right? I think I'm starting to lead into Australia, but that's fine. We'll do that. Jax agrees, and the two of them are going to set foot, basically kind of pack it up. Aanord is going to bring his speeder bike into the bay here, and we'll kind of it'll end up kind of getting stored somewhere in either one of the cargo holds. Anyway, we got cargo holds kind of all over the place. We got main holds, we got cargo holds, whatever. So I mean, it can fit most likely back here somewhere in the engineering bay, I would think, or one of the holds off to the side. So Aanord brings his speeder bike on board, and the two of them are going to be taking flight again and heading back to Mos Eisley, where Jax gets clearance to land. Okay. Alright, so the Driftwood we'll do this. Returns to Mos Eisley, parks at a docking bay, parks, whatever. We'll go with that. Now, I've already kind of made some plans here. I've already kind of added Aanord here. Along with our network, our growing network of dangerous and interesting people here. So yeah, I think that kind of rounds out our next scene as they kind of return to Mos Eisley. The YT-1300 comes down out of the sky. Jax starts kind of bringing it slowly in. It hovers just before it hits the dirt, and they've returned, and they're going to definitely have some docking bay fees to pay, or Jax is going to have some docking bay fees to pay. Aanord wants to leave his speeder bike in the hold for now. He's thinking they should go out on foot. He's not really expecting too many issues to try to deal with these guys. The biggest potential issue is going to be should there be local law enforcement that get involved. So the idea is they need to do this quick. So they track the... well, let's see here. We need to kind of move on. So we're going to be kind of going into our scene number 14, which I'm pretty sure is going to end up having to be basically the fight. They track these guys down. Now, my chaos factor went actually fairly well there. I think everything was good. So I'm going to
call this Payback. I think I'm going to drop the chaos factor to 4. We felt like we were fairly in control there. Things went well, even though it was a very short scene. Make a roll. I still need kind of reminders as to how I deal with scenes here. So testing scenes. We're going to roll an 8, so things are going to go off as expected. So our scene summary is Jackson Aanord they track these guys back to their apartment in Mos Eisley. All right, I'm liking this. That's good. Okay. Actually, I should. Yeah, our destiny pool's kind of say now. Our destiny pool's currently 2 dark sides, so I gotta kind of try to remember that. Things can go poorly, so I'm gonna kind of do our little adversaries thing here. We need our bounty hunter, and we also need. Oops, the security detail. Spaceport. We know we have 3 of these guys. Oops. So we know we got 3 of these guys, so their wound threshold is going to be actually 12 here. Is there a way? Nope, but that's okay. So I'm just going to know that if I get that up to 12, that's when things are going to start getting bad. As they kind of weave their way through Mos Eisley, they swing around into a couple of narrower streets and alleyways, and eventually come to the small apartment that kind of just along the entrance, kind of being along one of these narrow alleys. And as they kind of approach, they're only a couple of doors away from this. Aanord unslings his blaster rifle. It's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We need to find out if they're home first, so I'm gonna have to go take a look. Now, what the hell we got here? We got some sneak going on? We got no sneak going on here. What's Jack's got in terms of stealth? Nah, he's got 3 dice. This dude doesn't even have anything. He's not moving stealthily. It's not really his forte. So Jax is gonna kind of, he's seen the way that Aanord works, and he kind of stops and goes, look, I'll slip up. There's a window up there. I'll go take a look. So Aanord looks, he goes, yeah, all right, mate. And he kind of heads to the opposite side of the alley from where the door is, kind of tucks himself into a little niche there, and brings the blaster rifle just up, kind of sighting in the door, lets it kind of hover over through the window, which he can't really see too much through, from where he is, and he just kind of waits as Jax is going to attempt to stealth his way up. So Jax needs some green dice here. And I think this is probably the first point where we need to use a dark side point against poor Jax. So we're going to have to, difficulty dice for stealth anyway. I'm pretty sure are going to require 2 purple. Maybe I should just check that. See kind of what's a standard stealth check here. I don't know whether there's anything in the Edge of the Empire book or not, but we're going to find out here. All right. Stealth. Here we go. So Actually, the difficulty of the stealth check is going to depend on the abilities of those he's attempting to avoid. So they're pretty standard here. Opposed by perception. Alright, so instead we're just going to kind of make... Yeah, so we'll just kind of make 2 purple roll here for Jax with his stealth. So he's going to attempt to sneak his way down the alley, kind of keeping to the same side to get close to the exterior walls of the other apartments, making his way towards that window. Okay, that's going to be 1 threat, but 2 successes. And I didn't spend the dark side point. I had meant to, actually, but I'll save that. Inside, we got perception rolls coming here. Let's hit the spaceport detail. They got 2 in perception. They are not paying attention, but we'll give them 2 purple. However, I am going to... Let's actually spend a dark side point here. So okay. So let's do that. We're going to basically then increase this. So we're going to kind of take the destiny pool, which is going to modify a little bit. So we're going to end up with now 1 light and 1 dark. Okay, so what we got here? Jack's got 3. These guys are going to fail all over the place. They're actually going to get 1 failure and advantage. I'm just going to say the advantage is going to kind of... Yeah, so the advantage can't really do too much for them. The 1... the 1 threat that Jack's got, the only thing it's going to really have an effect on is that the lights are on. So as he kind of approaches... These guys are too busy having a good time. As he kind of approaches, he can hear them. He hears them having a good time. He can tell they're having some drinks. They're laughing, and he kind of approaches. You know, blaster now in his hand, and he up against the wall, and he slowly kind of slides himself along the wall. Peers into the window. The threat here is that maybe he casts a bit of a shadow. So it could be, they haven't noticed him, but the shadows, from the light kind of coming out is now kind of, he's clearly kind of creating a little bit of a shadow in the streets now, because now we're into evening, right? So that's kind of the way I saw this, where we're under cover of darkness, right? It's at night. With the light kind of streaming out of the window, he's kind of gotten a little too close, where now his silhouette is, now on the street. If anyone looked out, they might kind of get a little suspicious by this. He looks in, and the real question is, are all 3 of them there? And I'm thinking this is nearly certain yes. It's the end of the day. They're kind of hanging out and they're having a good time. I'm thinking yes. Nearly certain yes. 48, yeah, they're definitely there. Drinking beers, so having a few beers kind of while they're hanging out there, right? Jackson's got that stun grenade kind of tucked away, and he's thinking this would be a good point that he might be able to use it. He looks back over at Aanord, just gonna
looks up, motions him forward. Aanord kind of steps out from the shadows, brings the rifle up, and kind of makes his way down. He is not very stealthy. What is it? It's an agility skill. He's not trying to be stealthy. He's just outside. He doesn't really even bother to be stealthy. You know, he just kind of moves along with the blaster rifle. As he gets closer to the apartment, he slings the blaster rifle and draws his blaster pistol. Right, close quarters. That's going to be a lot easier. He's like, "All right, Jax. What's the plan here?" Jack's like, "I got a stun grenade here in my pouch. Test the door, see if it's open. See if you can get at least one of them maybe to the door. Just knock on it, and I'll toss this through the window when we're ready." "Yeah, all right." Aanord, holsters the pistol again, and just steps back a little ways and kind of walks in front of the window, casting a glance as he goes toward. He's heading towards the door. At which point he gets to the door. Thump, thump, thump. "Open up!" And inside, all the jovial, partying nature just stops, and they all kind of look around, and you can, Jack's just still just peering through, just trying to keep out of line of sight, and just barely being able to see what's going on. He can see them scrambling for blaster pistols. All of their probably, standard issue security detail blaster pistols. Open up! Jobba sent me! At which point they stop. Alright, deception. This is definitely a deception check for our bounty hunter. Maybe not so much a deceptive kind of person. What's our deception based on? Deception is based on cunning. Well, he's got 2. I'm going to call it average. However, no, let's not spend that dark side point. So we'll roll 2 green and 2 purple here. He's going to end up with 1 threat, but 2 successes. Right, that's actually kind of good. The threat, of course, is that these guys are not putting down the blaster pistols. They still have to be careful. They're still not very trusting, and they're both working for law enforcement as they're working for the most powerful crime lord in the sector, possibly even in the Outer Rim. I don't know how powerful is Jabba. He's pretty powerful. So what they, as 2 of them kind of keep back. Getting their blaster pistols ready. They're not really. They have them out. They're not exactly pointing them towards the door, but they're prepped just in case. And they're kind of arguing a little bit. No, you go to the door. No, you go to the door. No, look, you go. I've had too much to drink. I shouldn't go to the door. You go to the door. Finally, they get one of them who goes to the door, and you hear kind of the click clack, unlocking it. He just barely slides it open. He looks out at the fairly well-armed gentleman in the street here. What? What do you want? Oi! I said Jabba sent me. We were gonna deliver it tomorrow. Yeah, I know. He sent me to get it tonight. What? I don't know you. At this point, this is when Jack's going to toss the stun grenade into the room. As he kind of calls out to Aanord, "Fire in the hole!" And he chucks the stun grenade into the room. Alright, how do stun grenades work? Because I do not know. I really don't. Stun grenades. Here we go. Stun grenades.
So a stun grenade is a sonic wave, concussion shocks, whatever. And the way I kind of saw this one was like a flashbang. They can be set to detonate on impact, which is kind of what he's going to be doing. That tells me very little here. So let's just kind of flip here to our weapons. Thrown weapons, explosives, stun grenade. It's a ranged light, which is good. Jax is going to have to make a ranged light roll. That's alright. Okay. Stun grenades, range light, damage of 8, disorient of 3. They've got a stun damage. They got blast 8, limited ammo of 1. So I have not really dealt with grenades too much here in this game. Actually, I'm not sure I've dealt with grenades at all. I need kind of an idea as to what basically happens here. Well, actually, let's just kind of let's make the roll. Jax is going to make a ranged light roll. Oops, sorry, we're going to go the other way. Ranged light. The stun grenades are a short range, which he's in. I'm actually going to need my little cheat sheet. I just need to flip through my book here for my cheat sheet. Okay, engaged. No, short. So it's a 1 purple. So it's 1 yellow, 2 green, and 1 purple. Tosses it in. That's a triumph. And yeah, that's it. It's a triumph. So that counts as a success. Plus a triumph effect, potentially. So a triumph attack, so because it is a success, we can upgrade a purple of the target's next check. We're going to be doing that. They're going to probably be a little disoriented from this, so they're going to take. I'm just going to see whether I've got cheat sheet here, whether it describes things like stun and some of the other stuff. Item qualities, here we go. So by using, so this needs to activate. I actually need two advantages, which I did not get. So that's not going to activate. I'm not going to be able to activate the stun. Instead, it's going to blow up. It is going to do actual damage to these guys, as basically the flashbang goes pa, pa, bang, explodes. It's gonna do 9 points of damage. 9 points of damage. It's got a blast of 8. Disorient. I can't really use the blast. Yeah, I can't really use too much more of anything else. The disorient. I don't have any. I don't have any advantage to use here. So instead, because stun grenade would typically do 8 damage. It's gonna do an additional 1 because of my success. So it's gonna do 9 damage in total to these guys. And that's going to drop 2 of them right away. And that's going to be the 2 kind of in the back that we're waiting. The stun grenade goes off. We hear ah! As they kind of dive for cover, kind of crashing into furniture.
and hurting themselves and knocking themselves out. Whether they're dead or not, who knows? At which point, it's just the one at the door. And now we're going to need some initiatives. So Jax and Aanord are both ready for combat, and I always slip up kind of which is which. Cool or vigilance. And I believe vigilance is our normal we're ready for combat one. Yes. No, sorry. Cool is if they're aware. Vigilance is if it's unexpected. So, we're going to just do so. Okay. All right. So, we're going to start with Jax here. Jax is going to roll. Actually, sorry, I do need to deal with equipment. Oh, you know what? I never even put the stun grenade on here, so I don't have to take it off. It's all good. Easy peasy. Cool. Okay. Actually, that worked out really, really well. If Jax had decided to fight them back in the docking bay, I don't think it would have gone anywhere near that well. I think he might have gotten himself killed. Sorry. Cool. For Jax is 2. Alright. So we're going to count basically the PC's side and the NPC's side. So we're going to have going on, that's a 1. The advantages don't count. And under our adversaries, we'll deal with the NPC on the bad guy side. They're just going to be dealing with Cool is a presence. They can roll 2. Sorry, he's dealing with vigilance, which is a willpower, which is going to be the same. So he rolled 2. He actually gets 3. So our security detail guy is actually going to get 3. And then our last PC element, he's not really a PC, but he's kind of on the PC side. That's the way I'm kind of going with this. So we got the bounty hunter of Aanord. He's going to be rolling cool, which he does not have as a skill, which means he's just rolling his presence 2 for 2. All right, cool. There's our initiatives here. So we're going to, I'm just going to drop this onto the next page. And from there we go. So that means the security guy gets to go first. He is surprised by what happens. He throws a quick glance over his shoulder. Now he's already got a blaster in his hand. However, he is engaged at in melee here. He is he's going to not trust Aanord now at all, seeing as a stun grenade just went off. Aanord might very well be working for Jabba, but it seems like maybe now Jabba's double-crossing them. And so you son of a... And he brings the blaster up to shoot Aanord. He's got a blaster pistol going. Because he is engaged with a range light, he's actually going to be rolling 2 purple, but he's got 2 green to fire the blaster. That's going to be 1 threat and 2 successes, though. Okay, so 2 successes. The 1 threat's not going to do anything, but the I guess the only threat is that it kind of pisses Aanord off because he just takes a shot. 6 plus 2 is 8 points of damage. Subtract 3 for soak,
Aanord's taking 3. For 3 wounds. Aanord's now pissed. At which point I think Aanord, because now we kind of go on from there. The NPC's not moving. He just fires, blasts. I guess he does have a maneuver. He's going to maneuver by throwing himself back, kind of basically kind of turning and running into the back of the apartment to take some cover. He kind of tosses himself behind a table, kind of overturning it, trying to hide behind it, and pokes his head up, Aanord, we got, next would be PC, so Aanord and then Jack. So Aanord, now angry, brings that blaster pistol, just draws that blaster pistol, sights down, he aims. That's going to be his maneuver. He's going to aim. I forget how that works. Aiming gives a blue, actually. Yeah. And this guy, because the guy moved, I'm thinking he put himself into short range, which means Aanord's going to have a better chance at hitting this son of a bitch. So, what does he got here for his heavy blaster pistol? He's rolling a yellow, 2 green, and now that it's at short range, he's got 1 purple, but he's also got the 1 blue now because he took careful aim. So he brings it up, sights right down. You bastard! That was my favorite shot! And fires. Phew! That's a lot of empty. He's gonna miss. He actually is going to miss and hit that table. The blue came up blank, one of the green dice came up blank, the purple die came up with a threat, and the other green and the yellow both came up with an advantage. So it gives 1 advantage, which is not enough to do anything. Instead, he blasts away, hits the table. He's used his maneuver, so he can't move or anything. At which point, Jax, I think, if I recall correctly, I took quick draw with Jax. But actually, now in hindsight, he shouldn't have been able to draw and aim and fire. That was my bad. The blue came up blank, so it kind of works out. Okay, Jax. Jax absolutely has quick draw, which means he can draw the weapon as an incidental. He steps around to get a better view through the window. Quick draws the blaster from his hip and fires. Okay, what's Jax got here? He can still move, which is good. So, yeah, I'm gonna say moving, into view of the window is gonna be kind of his maneuver to kind of get a sight on this guy. So what's Jax doing here? He's got a yellow, 2 green. And for short range, he's going to be firing with 1 purple. And he fires. Pew! We're going to end up with... so the threat's going to cancel out one of the advantage here. So he's going to end up with 2 advantage plus 1 success, which is going to be enough to hit. He fires as just starts blasting. Pew! Pew! And the security guard's kind of trying to duck out of the way, but he takes the shot. He gets blasted. So we were going to switch over to our adversaries again here. Did I take into factor the soak when I did that damage? I don't think I did. No, I did not. So you know what? We got to drop that back down to 5. At which point, you know, at the same time, Jack's kind of noticing one of the other ones is stirring. Apparently, he was only knocked over. Okay, Jax fires through the window, is hitting. His blaster pistol does 6 plus the 1. Yeah, plus the 1, which will hit. And he had 2 advantage, right? Did he have 2 advantage? Yes, he had 2 advantage. So for 2 advantage, he can immediately perform a free maneuver. Ooh, okay. You know, I slipped up with one of the one of the triumphs actually allows me pretty much to do anything on the list of advantage stuff. So that's my bad there. So for 2. He blasts away. So what's he going to do here? 6. He's going to do 7 points of damage, which actually is going to, you know what? It doesn't really matter. 1 starts to stir, so he kind of fires, and the guy hiding behind the table just pokes his head up at the wrong time and catches a blaster bolt, you know, right between the eyes, right in the face. And he just goes flying back. His head kind of flips back, and he goes down. Jax kind of half sees, half hears the crash into the ground. Meanwhile, you know, so he fires once, pew, knocks him down, and happens to see the other one start to stir. And just to make sure there's no danger, kind of just shifts a little bit and puts another blaster bolt right into that guy. Just, you know, right into his torso, and he stops moving. Aanord kind of looks over at him, reaches down, realizes there's this, you know, singed kind of hole in his shirt now. Oi, that stings. Alright, Jax, get your stuff and let's get out of here. Alright, no problem. So Jax kind of enters the apartment. We know they have not traded this off to Jabba yet. Is it in the apartment? Can they find it? Can they, you know, I'm pretty sure it's in the apartment. Can they find it quickly is my real question. Because all this blaster fire is probably going to bring law enforcement down on top of them relatively quick. Can they find it quickly? We're at Chaos Factor of 4. I'm just going to say it is. It's going to be 50-50. That is a 67. That is a no. They cannot find it quickly. They enter the actually, sorry. Just do that. There we go. We know the battle's over there, so I just want to kind of make my notes. Jax and Aanord enter the apartment, but it takes about 10 minutes to find the chest. Sorry, the metal box full of kyber crystals. In this time, does law enforcement come on? Now we're not exactly in the best of areas, even though these guys are security detail. So I'm thinking, like,
does security, does law enforcement get there before Jackson Aanord can get out? I'm saying very unlikely. Mostly because I don't want to deal with it. And I think we need to get... Jackson needs a break. 33. Very unlikely. 15 or under would have been a yes. So no. They get in and find the box stuffed into the corner of a closet. And they're out of there and on their way back to the docking bay. Before law enforcement arrives. Sorry about all my little typos here. Yeah, so they get out. Awesome. No, that's great. All right. I would say they were very in control there. So I'm going to say our next scene is going to bring us down to a chaos factor of 3. Also, one second here. We have completed a thread. We have retrieved the goods. That's good. So we can also kind of shift this. Let's just move this up the list here a bit. Now we don't have to worry about it. Thanks to the help here, we've managed to get this back. I do need to update this though. This should be 1 light and 1 dark. We'll be going just about an hour, so I think we're going to wrap things up here. As we kind of round things out, alright, so they kind of take that box. Now that Jack's got 2, there's no Ed, and one of which is looks like a tough son of a bitch, I guess, too. Even though, I mean, if you kind of look at the image that was created for him, he's kind of got a little bit of like a baby face going on. They kind of march their way back through Mos Eisley towards the spaceport and get to the docking bay without issue. All right, that was kind of good session there. So we need to move our way into the obligation roll aspect here to see what's going to come up next time. So I need percentiles. That is a 50. That is still a no. There will be nothing whatsoever regarding our obligation rolls. So we're going to stop there. By the time we come back, it's going to probably be, November. We're not going to be playing again tonight. And we're going to come back for episode 10 and scene 15. And that's kind of where things are going to end tonight. That was good. I got to kind of think where we need to go next, but that was a lot of fun. Okay, have a good one.